Hey, welcome back to the rest of the segment here on Movie Time Minute. And I'm here with Bernie. Pronounce your last name because I know I'm going to mispronounce it.
Well, everybody knows me as Starzewski, but if you're Polish, it's Starzewski.
Okay. I'm just going to call you Bernie to make it easy.
That's fine. That's fine.
And of course, we're talking about the film, Winter's Hymns. And you played
Chuck Johnson, the farmer who's dying of lung cancer.
Okay. Okay, so my father, I grew up on a farm. I lost my father to lung cancer, so some of this might get a little difficult. But I've had I haven't seen the film, but I've had a chance to see a lot of segments of it that Nathan's shared with us. Nathan, of course, was on just earlier via Zoom from New York City. And it's very, very powerful. This film, to me, the way he did it, all in one setting, it just seems like it grasps people. It grasps me, and I haven't seen the whole thing. So before we talk about the film, though, you were a dairy farmer.
Yes, I was. We had this farm just north of Collins on Poplar Grove Road and what was then Old Highway 32.
Yep.
Today it's Highway W. Right across from the Collins Wildlife Refuge, you can see the Manitowoc River in the background.
Yep. Well, I, believe it or not, in the 80s, kind of dates me, but I was back in the 80s when there wasn't much carpentry work. I hauled milk for Branch Cheese Company for a lot of years, actually. They were offering 7 days a week, work as much as you want. I had a family and I needed the money, so I know your area real well. I picked up Holdorf's were not far from where you were there. They were one of my stops. And so I know about the dairy farms. I grew up on one, and I picked up milk for a lot of years when the blizzards blew here in Wisconsin.
It's a pretty good bet you know who Lee Krieger was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Lee was your milkman.
Yeah, and he was my best friend for a lot of years. He passed away a couple years ago.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah. He was AMPI going back a long way back. He was before my days.
We actually moved up here from Mount Calvary. My dad had a farm by Mount Calvary.
Okay.
And my wife and I decided we wanted to branch off on our own, and we were AMPI down there with the Ottery Reload.
Okay.
And so we were already AMPI members, and Lee lived right in Collins.
Yeah.
And he had this little Chevy C70, I think, single axle.
Yeah.
And he was just absolutely thrilled to get this farm as one of his patrons, because it was like 0 miles for him, you know.
Back in and load up and away you go.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and he had a couple trucks after a while, quad axles, and he got to be
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
his
nephew Shane in particular is still operating Krieger Trucking, and I currently live right next to Lee's farm, and he actually helped me buy the place that we have today by introducing me to the owner who wanted to sell. So we were really good friends, and I was some of the experiences I had with Lee kind of played into the character Chuck. There's some references in my monologue that talk about the things I observed with Lee.
Yeah, a nice man. He was
absolutely. He'd help anybody with anything, anytime. You know, he was always right there.
Yeah. I knew him. So you went from farmer to actor. Tell us, when did you want to get to become an actor? How did that come about?
I acted going way back into high school and maybe even a little bit of grade school. I went to St. Mary Springs in Fond du Lac.
Okay.
I did all the talent shows, and I was the lead in the class play. And post high school, my first musical was Jesus Christ Superstar. I believe I was the first amateur Caiaphas in the state after they licensed it in 1976. So
we're both dating ourselves here, aren't we?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, Chuck was me in a lot of respects. You know, my grandfather used to say, we're all none of us. This place is a death trap. None of us are getting out of here alive.
Yeah. That is true.
So things change, and people change, and my own experiences with my own family. My sons and daughters are all out of the area too, just like with Chuck.
Yeah.
And you know, when my wife and I are gone, there won't be any of us left in this county.
Well, yeah. I'm lucky that way. All my kids live right here in the area. I get to see the kids and grandkids. I know that's hard, right?
It's really hard. There's, you know, especially as I get older, there's things like, you know, hey, I could use some help over here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dad. You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's like that song, the new job's a hassle and the kids got the flu.
Yes. So the generation, going back to my father's generation or even our generation, they were all heavy smokers. And, you know, lung cancer was, you know, my father, I was there, mentioned it in an earlier segment. I was in the room when my father passed, and I think dying of lung cancer, seeing somebody die of lung cancer, is undescribable, you know. And so I like the power of the film because they put it in a setting and they let your imagination go. It takes these people and picks them up and puts them in, maybe it's something they've already lived, something they think they're going to deal with. And I think that's why Nathan did such a good job, how he created this room and didn't just let you actors bring it to life. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Well, the first thing that I noticed is when he first showed me the script was there's a line that Bonnie has Bonnie Tarmalin, who played my wife, where she complains that Chuck is still driving out to the farm and just sitting and looking at it.
Yeah.
And I tell you, that's what I used to do.
Yeah.
When we left this place, it was like farms to these people, including myself, were not just pieces of real estate. They were family members, the farms themselves. And it was like visiting a grave. Sometimes I'd be so disturbed at night I couldn't sleep, and I'd go out in the middle of the night and park at the corner of Poplar Grove and W and just look at it.
Yeah.
And it was like visiting a grave. That's how close people are to the land, and at least from that generation. Today, it's all just, you know, corporate business.
Big mega farms. Yeah.
Mega farms.
Hometown farms are pretty much the thing of the past.
That's really Chuck's lament. Now, I'll tell you the other thing that really cemented me with this film and personally invested it to me. I noticed some things in Chuck's monologue that weren't exactly relevant to what the real reason farmers were leaving the farms. And I made the comment to Nathan, and I thought, well, he's going to can me now because, you know, people don't like, you know, actors coming in and telling an author there's something wrong with the script.
I've been there too.
But he did exactly the opposite, and I think this is very much to his credit. He let me run with that and let me create my own monologue.
Yeah.
That was based on my own personal experiences and experiences with friends and family who had passed on, most notably my brother and an old high school classmate.
Yeah.
You know, the line about going down the stairs backwards was exactly how a friend of mine died because he couldn't walk well anymore. Yeah. So that, knowing the truth of those experiences and how he just let me do that, I just have no ways to express my gratitude for that.
Yeah. Interviewing him just a little while ago, I got a feeling working with him was probably a really great experience because I got that feeling. He knew what he wanted to say, but what made it work was he just let you, all the actors, just bring it to life.
Yes.
Bring it to life.
Exactly.
I think at one point in his statement, his director's statement, he said the camera was really there watching. And that meant a lot. It's like, you guys go with it. I'm not going to interrupt you. I'm not going to cut, move. You guys go with it. The camera's here to watch.
That is exactly what he did. And it's, it can be a very hard movie to watch, but it can also be very uplifting in that, you know, if you listen to what Dr. Volbenik, Colleen Madden is saying, you know, she tells Chuck, you know, you have another job to do, in effect, and another lesson you can teach your children, and you can teach them how to die.
Yeah.
And that line, which was 100% Nathan,
Yeah.
Really got me.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you talked about, you know, being able to go back and visit. This is going off, not off, particularly Tombo Winter hymns right now, but I can relate with my father. When my father was real sick at the end and really couldn't come back to the farm anymore, I came home to run the farm when my dad got real sick for a short period of time. I ran it until he passed. And it was lung cancer that, you know, that took him. And he would come and he would visit and he'd try to do what he could do. And at the end, he couldn't drive anymore. He'd lost his voice, so he couldn't talk anymore. And shortly after that, he passed quietly. But I often tell people, he took away his ability to drive, to visit the farm, to speak to people, which he loved to do. And it was just time.
Yeah.
Most of what he really enjoyed doing, he couldn't do anymore, you know. And it prepared me. I was young, I was in my early 20s. And it prepared me to see what he went through and how he handled it with just unbelievable strength. And for other things and people that I've lost since that time, to be able to deal with it. And like you said, sometimes the parents are the teachers in that final lesson.
Right, right. My dad only recently passed away, and yeah, he was a concentration camp survivor.
Oh, wow.
And he died at the age of 96, and he always said his revenge on Hitler was that he lived and Hitler didn't.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Wow.
but he ended up dying of complications due to COVID.
Oh.
So you know, that was and that was kind of a long process. And just prior to that, my younger brother died of cancer, not lung cancer, but
Yeah.
and I had to be his PR, his executor, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I had to handle his estate for his children and things like that. Maybe he can do a sequel sometime about the aftermath.
Yeah.
You know.
Funny you should mention that, because we have something in the works, and maybe we can pull you in on this one. And stay tuned. It's called Heaven is Seen by Those Still Here.
Ah.
So everybody has a different vision of heaven and how we envision it. And you get to that line, I talked about that end, and then you cross over, and everybody has a different idea. And some that I have a friend who died on the table and came back, and stuff that he says that he saw, it's pretty incredible.
My dad told a very similar story, and he wrote a memoir about it, about how he was, this was after the war, and he was being examined by Allied doctors, and for some reason they either put him under or he had passed out or something. And he saw himself as floating near the ceiling of the room and looking down at himself on the table.
Yeah.
And seeing the doctors and seeing outside that a horse and cart were going down the street. And when he woke up, he got up, and for some reason he looked out the window and he saw the horse and cart going down the street the other way.
Wasn't time yet.
So wasn't his time yet, I guess. So
Yeah.
who knows, you know.
Yeah. And my wife, Vicki, then, you know, having been a hospice nurse, she said numerous times where people would be just on the edge, and you knew the time was any second. But yet there was somebody who lived out of state, or they lived and they were flying in, and they were waiting. The person was waiting for that person. That person would arrive, and within a short period of time, then they passed on. They were waiting.
A lot of stories about that.
That they could control. I still need to let them to be able to say goodbye. Now I can go. So we got off the winter hymn thing a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to do another whole segment on this, I think, because it was powerful. But going back to that, so tell us a little bit more about Winter Hymns, and it was filmed, I believe, in Menominee.
In Menominee, not on the Stout State campus, but very much next to it. It was that was not even a hospital; it was rented office space.
Yeah.
And they just decked it out. I mean, what do you need? You need an exam table. You need a scale.
Yeah.
Somebody needs a stethoscope, and it was certainly the most professionally filmed film I've ever done. It's not the only one. I've been in a few, two of which were never released, but with a whole other story.
I've been in some of them too, by the way.
Okay.
So I know what you're saying.
Dudes with cameras. One not so much. I'll have to tell you that story sometime. But you're in a professional film when you've got an assistant director standing there whose sole job it is to reset the clock for every take, so that the clock doesn't advance in the background.
Wow. Yeah.
You're not in Amateurville anymore.
That's attention to detail.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming in, Bernie, so much, and I'm sure you all enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it, and I got a feeling we're gonna see you again down the road.
That would be great fun. I live right here, and this is not the first time I play someone with cancer. It seems to be a recurring thing in the parts that I've had. Down at Sheboygan Theater Company, my signature role has always been Big Daddy and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, who is dying of cancer, and they're lying to him because there's so much mendacity in this room.
My friend, it has been fantastic, and I look forward to seeing you again.
I really appreciate it, and I'm thrilled to know that you're here so close by. So.
All right. Thank you again. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on another Movie Time Minute.